Hello and welcome to my first election coverage live from the brand new Spartan newsroom. I'm Zachary Barnes. Alongside of me, I have three Michigan State journalism students from the class Journ 425, where they did a fascinating study on how McCarthyism, from the Senator Joseph McCarthy in the 50s, how his rhetoric relates to today's politics. So I'm going to start, with Alana Easterling right here alongside Geneva Swanson, as well as Eve Kucharski. But Alana, I want to ask you, Roy Cohn, a name not many may not know, but a mentor of Donald Trump, but also linked to Joseph McCarthy. Can you explain who Roy Cohn is and what his role was with Donald Trump and maybe the speech he has today?
Yes, Roy Cohn was a lawyer. He was Joseph McCarthy's lawyer. He actually represented Joseph McCarthy in the Army hearings, and it was stated in a Frontline documentary on Donald Trump's path to becoming the Republican candidate for this year's election that Cohn actually coached, quote unquote, Donald Trump during his younger days, and that's where he got his demagogic style of politics from. I was reading in a Washington Post article that Roy Cohn, he was disbarred from being a lawyer, and he actually took the hand of a man in the hospital. I can't remember what his position, but he basically took his hand and used it to sign over his will to him, and that was one of the reasons that he was disbarred. And Roy Cohn, he was just an infamous lawyer. He was feared, and he wasn't really liked by many people. And like I said, he did assist with Donald Trump's just bashing type of political perspective or stand view, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah, so we're analyzing the rhetoric Trump uses in today's elections and the debates maybe, and how it relates to McCarthyism. So we heard right here from Roy Cohn, someone linked to him who was known for that kind of rhetoric. Now with Joseph McCarthy, who ultimately the McCarthyism we're linking to Trump here, many journalists have. Geneva, I want to ask you, the 200 names speech. So Donald Trump, of course, has some famous speeches, thus far in this election season, but the 200 names speech that Joseph McCarthy is known for and how that relates to Donald Trump.
Yeah, so just to give a little bit of a background, in the 1940s, Joseph McCarthy actually wasn't very well known. He was a senator for Wisconsin, and he did a speech in West Virginia. And during this speech, his infamous line was, he had these 205 names of communists within the government or Soviet spies, and that list actually never existed. The paper he held up during the speech was just some random, letter from another senator. So this list never existed. And, that can also link to things that Donald Trump has been saying, without any, factual evidence or no verifying of facts by the media. The media actually never verified that this list ever existed. We didn't know until much later. So, with Donald Trump's rhetoric with, Hillary Clinton rigging the election, this might be so, it might not. We don't know because there's no evidence that he supports this type of speech with. So, yeah.
Yes, and that leads something, fascinating as well is the LA Times maybe not necessarily fact-checking this document in terms of that, how Donald Trump describes people, but you say his charisma. This is what attracts people. Joseph McCarthy had charisma. So Eve, do you mind commenting on that?
Sure. I think a really big parallel that McCarthy has with Trump is that Trump is a very charismatic guy, and it's understandable how he has such a great following as he does, even if perhaps he doesn't always have direct numbers to give. I think his charisma helps, which is I think a tool that did help McCarthy in the way he delivered his speeches and his rhetoric and all of that.
And so I guess history really does tend to repeat itself as Donald Trump linked to Joseph McCarthy. It's not the first time you're hearing this, but really some fascinating tales by one man, Roy Cohn, using the same rhetoric, teaching Donald Trump maybe, and even kind of some of the things you're seeing what he's saying about Mexicans or Hillary Clinton. But thanks for joining us today. I'm Zachary Barnes from the Spartan Newsroom. Thank you so much.